In this session, I'm going to talk about the zero trust. You might have heard this name very frequently, zero trust. This has been in picture in a few years recently, after COVID, I would say. Before that, people were using some other technologies. So now, if I talk about the zero trust, this is basically the concept whenever we think that we should not trust anyone, any user who is inside the network, like within the organization, or he's outside anywhere sitting. He's just like having coffee in the cafe. We don't make any difference because what usually happens that we carefully admit a person who is from the internet or outside, but we usually like to have a very very nominal behavior for the person who is accessing from the inside. But there could be a chances that any system within your organization is compromised and any attack is happening from the laptop within the organization. In that case, because the security policies or the control, they are not in such a manner whatever you deploy for the external world. Chances are there whenever the attack is being launched from the inside, the damage is more rather than happening from the outside. So that's why the concept of the zero trust has been introduced, that we should not trust any device, whether it is inside or outside. Security measures, security policies, controls, they should be implemented same as inside and outside. And whenever we are implementing that, they should be more granular as much as possible. Okay. Now, if I talk about the how the trust network, like zero trust network, could be. Okay. So the very first important concept we have that it replaces the implicit trust zone with the threat. If you have worked with a little bit of networking, you will understand that in the firewalls, we define the different zones. We make it as like a trust zone, we make it a untrust zone, we make it as a DMZ zone, we make it as like server zone, right? Any zone we create it. And what the usual behavior is with any of the network guy, that whenever any device or computer or server or any laptop, whatever it is connected to the trust zone, you do not enforce a lot of security policies to those devices. So with the zero trust concept, what we are going to do, we are going to replace that zero trust with the strict. Like all zones are equal. We do not give any special privilege any of the guy who is internal or have a very important things, or we think that the server is very important. Next concept, we have that never trust, always verify. This is very very good thing. We don't think that okay, this is like a normal Windows machine. This is keep on logging in our network very frequently. Then we should trust it. No, no user, device, or application is trusted by default. For everything, we will enforce the authentication. First, you authenticate yourself, then you can only admit into the network. Obviously, the next one is a very important concept, that is the least privilege access. We hardly provide an access to the person which is not required for him. So only like we will follow the concept of the minimum level of access which is required for that specific task. For example, you are an uh, Windows, like you can add an user into the AD group. So you can only add the users to a specific AD group. You cannot enforce the security policies in that Active Directory, or you cannot have any module access, or you cannot create the users. Your job is only limited to add the users into the Active Directory group. Then you will do only that thing. And we have to make sure that that person has only that access, not anything other than that. He cannot have an access to the firewalls. He cannot have access to the VM servers, right? Anything outside of the person. So what access will give, whatever the roles has been defined for him, persons is hired for that job. Only those access. Next thing is the assume breach. This is like very good concept, and we always think, we always have a this thing in mind whenever like you are a SOC analyst or any security analyst. You should have in mind and thinking that has this breach happened? Is that not a log being coming from any hacker? Is that not a process invoked by an attacker? Right. So if you have that mindset in your mind, things are very easy. Now I talk about the core principle of the zero trust. ZT here stands for the zero trust. And now, because this has been taken from like these concepts belong to the NIST, NIST, SP 800 and 200.07. So the very first thing it talks about the architecture guidance. Okay, so it defines the core concepts and the building blocks of the zero trust architecture and how to adopt them over time. So overtime is very important because after some certain times, the controls or measure whatever you have implemented today, they may not be applicable after 1 year or 2 years or 5 years. They change over time. So that's why it's very important that you keep on updating all those things. Next thing is resource first security. The resource first security means that ZTA focuses on the protecting resources, applications, services, data rather than relying on the perimeter based trust model. This is like important thing because sometimes we deploy the firewalls and we think that okay, the our firewall has been deployed, right? So after that one, we are sure that we are not installing, we're not like using any antivirus software or any endpoint detection device. So what happens like if any of the malware or anyhow any attacker got penetrated through your firewall, he got inside your firewall, you cannot make yourself safe. So for that purpose, we should not only relying on the perimeter. We should also have some other things in the security. For example, you are using the uh, host-based firewalls, or you are installing any endpoint detection. For example, you are using the CrowdStrike, or you are using the Microsoft Defender, right? So there are different type of defenders are also coming. So if you are using those products, you can be safe at the endpoint. Next thing is about the dynamic policy decisions. So here the access decisions can be incorporated identity assurance, strength, privilege level, device posture, behavior, signals, and the environmental context. So based on these, you know, the criteria, we take the policy decisions. For example, that what is the device status? Is that having the very high vulnerabilities, or they are using the old operating system? We do not permit it, which is not supported by that operating system owner. So in that, because they are not supporting, it means that there are chances that there are more vulnerabilities on that OS. Chances are there, you once you get inside the network, he will spread the malware here and there. Next thing, the enforcement via resources. So here the policy decisions must translate into the real enforcement through well-placed controls that allow limit or the terminate sessions. Perfect. Identity driven outcomes. So here what we're talking about that JT relies on strong identity assurance, governance of all identities types, human and machine, and least privilege control. So here also we are talking about the least privilege control. Reduce the blast radius of the credential compromise. So here there's a new concept that is known as the blast radius. Right? So blast radius means that, for example, any of your endpoint got infected or got compromised, how large he can destroy or can impact the devices. So that's why we have to be like very focused on the blast radius, and we make sure that whenever we are enforcing the controls or the putting the policies, we make sure that they are not beyond the blast radius. We should limit somewhere or confined in a smaller area. They should not be widespread. Next thing is about the privileged access focus. So this is also like high risk, high impact identities, administrators, services, accounts, and machine identities require stronger controls and the continuous monitoring. right? So these are the core principle, and we should follow these things, right? So this architecture guidance means that what we are these, why, what we should do it. Okay. Then first we should do it resource first securely, dynamic policy decisions, enforcement near the resources, identity driven outcomes, and then the privileged access focus. So these are the like core principle whenever we are defining the zero trust. And based on these principles only, we are sure that okay, we are achieving the concept of the zero trust. Okay. Now let's talk about the new concept, that is the control and the data plane. So after that one, I'm going to explain you the zero trust architecture. So there I'm going to use these terms control and data plane. So I thought to a little bit, delete here that what they are. And then I will talk about more in the next slide about this. The control plane and the data plane constitute of the fundamental network architecture separation. So the control plane acts as a brain. You can say the, taking the decisions, right? So here you see that the routing policies, decision making, while the data plane acts as a muscle like packet forwarding execution. So you can think of like your brain is your the control plane, that it is controlling everything. At your hand you have to slap someone, right? So that's your data plane. If your mind says that, okay, go and slap that person, then your hand is going, then hand is you're taking the action. That is basically your data plane. So that you can uh, correlate the things easily. That's why I'm doing, just giving you that example. Okay. So now you can say I have written it separately, but it's not required, but I have written it. So control plane is mainly responsible for creating the policies and enforcing, right? So here, like giving the the you can say the limits we are setting, that okay, everyone has to follow these policies, follow these rules, and accordingly they are uh, abiding by those policies. Data planes means that packets or the data travels according to the policies into the control plane. So for example, you're trying to send any data, or you're sending any uh, packets from here to there, how they should go it, whether they should be restricted, they should be allowed, what's their control methods, that will be accordingly whatever you have decided in the control plane, that will be followed by the data plane here, right? So that you can say that this is an action and this is the your command. Name itself says that control. All right. So this is about the zero trust architecture, ZTA. So here we have the uh, two planes that I'm saying, that what I have just discussed, the control plane here, and here is the data plane. So above this dotted line, we have the two blocks, policy engine and the policy administrator. So the overall the concept of the policy engine and the policy administrator, I have like not I have, because this diagram I have taken from this NIST SP200 zero trust architecture. So they have like given a block here, the policy decision point. Okay. So this is like you can say the control plane, which is all, everything is taking the decisions, and below that you can see it here, we have something like subject, and that is have some system. It is being sent to the, like treated as an untrusted, that okay, this is an untrusted network. Then it is going to the policy enforcement point, we also call it as a PEP. Here it is taking the decisions that go no go, that okay, whether you are a right person to go ahead or not, should I allow it, are you abiding by all those policies, system check, all the decisions will be taken by here. And then accordingly we will be like the system declares it, that okay, this is a trusted device, can be admitted to the network or wherever it wants to connect it to, whether it should be allowed or not. Accordingly, enterprise resources will be assigned to the subject. Now, if I talk about more of these building blocks, so the first point is the policy decision point. So the PDP, I would say. So right here, the PZP, the policy decision point. So that's what I talk about. So that's what I have explained this concept. So policy decision point is the basically the PDP functions as a gatekeeper. It has the two main components, policy engine and the policy administrator. Policy engine and the policy administrator. So the first block, the policy engine. The policy engine is responsible for the ultimate decision to grant access to a resource for a given subject. Quite clearly from the definition itself. The policy administrator, I would say the PA. TA would generate any session-specific authentication and the authentication token or any credentials used by a client to access an enterprise resource, right? So it's quite simple. So this is an administrator, so it has some like enterprise level sending that here the authentication is happening. Here this is the token. Here the credentials I'm supplying. Here you have to use it, right? So these are administrator admin jobs. So that's what the policy administrator is doing it. Next thing is about the policy enforcement point. That is the PEP. So obviously, whatever the policy engine and the policy administrator has decided it, accordingly, the PEP will enforce, like put, it makes sure that, okay, whatever we have uh, done it, is that enabled, monitoring, and eventually terminating the connections between the subject and the enterprise resources, right? So whatever the actions are defined here, it will make sure that it is happening. So either it is like need to enable the monitoring or terminating the connections, right? So you can think of like a firewall. So if the policy says that, okay, allow this connection, then firewall takes action that, okay, allowed it. If there is no, drop the connections, send a reset signal. It will drop the connection and send the reset signal. So that action of that one is known as the PEP, the policy enforcement point. Simple. Obviously, this is not too detailed. I'm talking about at the zero trust right now. It is a very vast topic. I'm just giving it summary so that you can understand it actually, that what's happening. Then we can explore further on this one, maybe in this course or where else. Okay. So that's it from the zero trust. Thank you everyone for listening it. And if you have any question, feel free to write in the comment section. I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. All right. See you in the next session. Bye bye.